When you're watching CNN, President Trump's own cabinet members are putting his Drain the Swamp brand truly to the test because three of his secretaries and his EPA administrator are under fire for their use of private or military flights. The worst offender, you want to rank them, Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price. A source just telling CNN that the president is steaming over Secretary Price for his, quote, stupid use of private jets. Price reportedly spent more than $1 million of taxpayer money in travel costs, including taking 24 chartered flights. Politico just reported the biggest chunk of change here. $500,000 comes from at least 2 multi-stop international trips on a government plane. The secretary defended the trips.
All of these trips were official business. All of them were within budget. All of them were approved by the normal processes that every other administration has gone through prior to the trip, not after.
Secretary Price is doing a huge mea culpa by offering to pay back some of the cost, and even the sum of the cost piece, that is even getting criticized. Since Secretary Price is only paying for his seats on the chartered flights, just under about $52,000, Price praised his move.
This is unprecedented. Never been done, to our understanding, before by a secretary, in spite of the fact that previous administrations have had secretaries that flew an awful lot.
Let's talk to CNN senior economic advisor Stephen Moore, who also advised the Trump campaign, and CNN global economic analyst Rana Foroohar, who's also global business columnist and associate editor for the Financial Times. So welcome to both of you. And Stephen Moore, I mean, just honing in on Secretary Price, you know, he says he will, his word, absolutely stay on as health secretary. Should he be fired for this?
No, he shouldn't be fired for this, but he may not last.
Why shouldn't he be?
Well, look, this was poor judgment, but I think some of these criticisms are a little unfair. And by the way, I'm not justifying this. I hate this. I hate these, Washington, insiders being treated with royal treatment. It's just, it smells bad to the American people, and it contradicts Donald Trump's message of draining the swamp. But my only point would be, Brooke, that, I've been in this town a long time, 30 years. This is, the secretaries of departments, they do fly all over the country and sometimes all over the world, and they do use government planes to do so. And so it's not that unusual. I don't like it. I'm not defending it.
In terms of reading, a previous secretary, extenuating circumstances, dire circumstances upon which you would choose, a charter plane. And a lot of folks go commercial. I mean, $1 million.
I'm in favor of that, Brooke. I'm with you on this. I think they should be good for flying commercial. I do it. You do it. Look, I can't defend this, but I think, to fire him for that, he's guilty of poor judgment.
Okay. Rana, should he be fired? What do you think?
I'm going to agree with Stephen on this.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be fired. It's tonal, though, and as you well know, it's not great coming at a time when the White House has just announced a tax plan that is trying to sell as a boon for the middle class. I don't feel that it is, but it's really about tone and judgment, as Stephen says. This is not the kind of news you want breaking at the time you're trying to convince the American people you're giving them a big break.
Okay. You mentioned tax reform, so let's just go there. And, Stephen, let me pose this to you. As you well know, the president's been making this mega push for his tax plan. This morning he was talking before a manufacturers group today, and Gary Cohn, his top economic advisor, is obviously helping him sell the plan. He spoke yesterday saying this is the opportunity of a lifetime for him. But Cohn also said, when he was speaking in front of media at the White House, said, and I'm paraphrasing, but that the average household income is $100,000, and first of all, it's not. It's $74,000. And he also said, it'll be great because you can put money back into your own pockets. You can renovate your kitchen for $1,000. And if anyone watches HGTV, you know that is not at all what it costs to redo your kitchen. And I mean, Rana laughs, but this is the guy in charge of rewriting, the tax plan in this country. You talk about tone deaf on Secretary Price. Is this tone deaf on behalf of Gary Cohn?
Maybe a little bit. Boy, you're asking me tough questions, Brooke. But like I
Welcome
will
to the
say,
show, Stephen Moore.
I will say this, that
I want to know how much Gary's kitchen costs.
yeah,
No,
well,
no,
Gary Cohn's a very rich guy, and $100,000 probably is middle class. But also, I'll say this: Gary Cohn is a New Yorker. He's from New York, and in New York, if you're living in Manhattan,
come on, Stephen.
no, look, if you live in Manhattan,
Brooke's
you
not
need
out of here.
$100,000 to be in the middle class. Now, if you live in Mississippi, that's not going to be middle class. But
He
look,
is writing the tax code for all of us, for America. And
I
these are the
believe so.
numbers. I mean, we laugh, but these are the numbers he's throwing out on, middle class or average Americans. It's wrong.
It reminds me, you remember during the Bush administration when he was asked about the price of milk? I mean, these things are
Right.
small, but they actually do matter. And it's not great at a time when you're trying to sell a tax plan as a boom to the middle class. I mean, the sad truth about this tax plan is that the wealthy are really going to benefit disproportionately from it. And I think that reflects the fact that at this point, there was always a debate, is the White House going to be a populist White House, or is it going to be kind of a traditional Republican laissez-faire trickle-down White House? And I think the answer from this tax plan is clearly it's the latter.
Well, every time I met with Donald Trump on this, because as you know, Brooke, I worked on this plan on the campaign with Donald Trump, and he always talked about the middle class. He said, I want this to be really aimed at the middle class. I don't want it to be a tax cut for rich people like me. Look, where I disagree on this is that I think if you cut, the heart and soul of the plan is really to try to cut taxes on our businesses, and the plan is designed to create more middle-class jobs, to bring a lot of those jobs that have left for Mexico or China or India, those other countries, to try to bring them back. And if we do that, that'll be good for the middle class. It'll mean higher wages and more job opportunities.
It fundamentally depends, though, on whether or not you think that tax cuts actually create real growth. I think they create growth for Wall Street. There's not a lot of evidence in 20 years that they've actually created real Main Street economic growth, and that's my problem with this plan.
All right, Ronna and Stephen, thank you. I'd love to know if anyone can find a kitchen renovation for $1,000. Sign me up. Thank you both. Thank you so much. Coming up next, you should be outraged. That is the message from the Air Force superintendent who gathered 4,000 cadets into this one room so they could hear this extraordinarily important message about racism at this prep school and in the military.
After President Trump remarks slamming players for silently protesting, one college team plans to make a statement of their own this weekend.
That's right. Coy Wires in Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers set to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. What are we expecting to see?
Yeah, good morning to you, Poppy and John. I'm here on Lake Mendota on campus at the beautiful University of Wisconsin-Madison. But, Poppy, unlike the NFL, it's customary for college football teams to take the field after the national anthem is played. So Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald says that his players, coaches, and staff, they're going to take the field with arms locked after the anthem is played, but they may express themselves in a much bolder fashion next week when they play at home during the anthem. So we'll see if that happens. Now, about 2 hours upstate from here in Green Bay, nearly all of the Packers and Chicago Bears stood on the sidelines locked arm in arm during the national anthem last night. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers invited all the fans at Lambeau Field to do the same. There were some fans who did join in, but clearly everyone not on the same page regarding this issue quite yet. And after the game, Aaron Rodgers said what they are doing is at least started some great conversations.
As much as some people want us to just shut up and play football, sports and politics have always intersected. And if we can help continue a conversation through a demonstration of unity like tonight, I think that's a good thing.
Now, as for the game, Packers receiver Devontae Adams on the wrong end of a scary hit in the third quarter. Danny Trevathan launching himself and hitting Adams right in the helmet. Then you can see the mouthpiece flying through the air. The game was delayed for about 5 minutes with medical personnel tending to Adams. He gave the thumbs up as he was carted off the field, so a good sign. Adams was being treated for head and neck injuries at a local hospital. Coach Mike McCarthy said news on Adams was positive after the game. Packers won easily, 35-14. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says he expects his players to stand for the national anthem when the preseason starts in a few days. Listen, actually, we will not hear from Commissioner Silver, but he says that there is a rule in the NBA where the players have to stand during the anthem, and rules about not being able to do certain gestures with their hands. Much more uniform in the NBA than the NFL. So what will players do when that season starts up? We will find out on October 17th if the NBA players plan to do something.
Especially some of those players who've been more outspoken. LeBron James, Steph Curry, what are they going to do? Thank you, Coy.
Great to see you. Great live shot, by the way.
Yeah.
The president set to speak minutes from now. Will he address the criticism over the administration response in the words chosen by the administration to describe that response in Puerto Rico?